A very good morning to all of you, dear aspirants, dear friends. Uh, there were some topics which were yet to be discussed, and during the regular sessions from 22nd to 31st that we had organized, some sessions were missing. Some syllabus material was yet to be, dealt with in the classes. So, according to the convenience of the resource person, we have kept this class for this Sunday. So, without wasting much time, I would now like to welcome our resource person, Dr. Gurunath Badigir sir, for this lecture. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Today, sir will be speaking about the basic concepts of language, English language teaching, methods of teaching English in India, English as second language, and the rest of the things related to English language. So, I now request Dr. Gurnath Badigir sir to go ahead with his presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Akshay. Thank you all. A very good morning to all the viewers on the StreamYard and YouTube. Today is the last lecture in this series delivered by me, and I would be talking about the fourth unit in the examination schedule for assistant professors. Today, my general discussion would be on language, basic concepts, theories, pedagogy, and English in use. And this is, in fact, as per the title, I would be talking about little about language, little about basic concepts, and my concentration more would be on teaching of English in the classroom. And there are different methods used in teaching of English, which I would be focusing in my today's lecture. Dear friends, we are supposed to know how to teach English, how to teach different aspects of a language, at the same time, how to teach literature. So, we are postgraduate. Some of us might have studied ELT, English language teaching, as a part of our curriculum. Some of us might have done an extra course in ELT like PGCTE, Postgraduate Certificate in Teaching of English, conducted by YAFLU, English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad. And some of us are direct MAs and NET and PhD, in which we were not able to study the theories of teaching English. And of course, we are all teachers. Some are, in fact, have a caliber to become the best teacher, but some require some kind of tips how to become a good English teacher. So the purpose of the government is to test candidate in the domain knowledge, at the same time in the skills related to teaching of English. So keeping these things in mind, there is a syllabus, of course. We are talking about language, basic concepts, theories, pedagogy, and English in use. Let's talk about what is language today. And after understanding language, we move on. We go on talking about different techniques of teaching English language and literature in today's talk. Language, as you know, is one of the most sophisticated tools that man has developed. Because whenever we are talking about man, man is a social animal, man is a tool using animal, man is only the speaking animal, man is the most intelligent animal, man is the most intellectual animal, the crown of all creations. so many appellations and so many adjectives are used for describing a man to distinguish man from the other animals, because man is known for his intellectual capacity. And language is the most sophisticated tool man uses for expressing his feelings, uh, and emotions and thoughts. It's the most complex way of communication that we have seen. Animals use very minimum modes of communication. All other animals use very minimum modes of communicating with other animals, fellow animals, and all that. But man has been using, we know that there are thousands of languages, thousands of ways of communicating. We have verbal communication, non-verbal communication. We have written communication, we have spoken communication. So, of late, we have developed a digital communication, variety of things. Language is the most sophisticated and the complex mode of communication that we see in human civilization. Language is the expression of ideas by means of speech, sounds combined into words. Language is a medium through which we can share our feelings, emotions. And one more thing we should know, that language is dynamic. Dynamic, it is changing from time to time. We study in linguistics the synchronic, diachronic, horizontal movement, vertical movement. Time language changes from time to time. Language changes from place to place. We have dialects, we have idiolects, we have registers. So, language is very wonderful. In fact, it is dynamic. And moreover, we know that language lives on the speaker's tongue. As long as we use the language, it lives. And some are endangered languages because people are not using them. So, some languages die a natural death, influenced by strong languages or very dominant languages. Um, that's what we see in the globalized world today. So this is about basic understanding of language. If you want to look at a definition, language is a system of conventional spoken, manual signed, or written symbols by means of which human beings, as members of social group, we must understand that language is a social activity. It is accepted by the social groups and participants in its culture. And they express themselves. The functions of language include communication. Communication is the major function of language. The expression of identity, play, imaginative expression, and emotional release. So, why language is used today is given here. So, let me talk about after talking about basic concepts of language. Of course, I'm not going to talk about the theories of language, which is not much focused today. Bobo theory, ho theory, and a variety of theories, how languages were born, and in the ancient time. And every language has its own history. Whenever we are talking about Kannada language, we talk about Halegannada, Nadugannada, Hosagannada. Whenever we are talking about English language, we talk about Old English, Middle English, and Modern English. Old English, Old English period is 700, 7th century to 11th century, and Middle English period starts with Norman conquest in 1060 BC AD and ends with the Renaissance, that is 11th century to 15th century, and modern English begins in 16th century, that is the beginning of Renaissance. And we have seen how there is the story of inflections. English was pure in Old English. The foreign influences began in the Middle English. And then we see how loss of inflections, what we call vibhakti, that is seen in the modern English. That is just a brief story about English language. We know how the vocabulary changed from time to time, when there is how there is a great vowel shift, or how the setting of the word order, how the dictionaries are evolved in English language, how Dr. Johnson and Oxford dictionary played a very important role. So up to this, we just know the brief story of English language. Let us talk about English in India. English in India, whenever we are talking about English in India, we remember that English was introduced in 1835 as a medium of instruction, and English has been taught in the schools till today. Even after independence, English continued to be one of the dominant languages of instructions. And English in India is taught for three important reasons: one for education, the other for employment, and the third for social mobility. So we are teaching English in the English classroom for a variety of reasons. That's what I told you. For a better higher education, we have been studying English books, English materials, and we are living in the digital world. That's why we refer to English materials, sources available in the public domain or in the digital world. And we are opening up ourselves to the globe because of LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. That's why job market is also open. A lot of language related jobs are available now. That's why we teach English for employment, language of employment. And social mobility is all because of people are moving from one place to another place. The world has become a small village. The shrinking of global boundaries because of fast communication, cheap communication. Obviously, people are moving from one country to another country. You require one common language. English acts as a link language, a lingua franca. That's why people use English for this reason. So, while teaching language, we must understand why we are teaching language in the classroom, whom we are teaching language in the classroom. This is very, very important. Whenever we are talking about language teaching, a teacher should know these things because that this topic, um, in fact, develops an argument here. Every teacher should understand the aims and objectives of teaching English in this country. Why are we teaching English? Whom are we teaching English? How are we teaching English is the question. Teaching of English before independence was different. Teaching of English before 1990 is different. Teaching of English in 2022 is different. Because before independence, English was the language of colonizers, and we were teaching English because it is the language of our rulers. And there were they want to become sahibs, they want to become collectors, and normally elite class people used to learn English, and some, of course, some other kinds of people also learned English. English was used mm, as a language of civilization. In those days it was a language of rich countries. But after independence, English continued to be the part of language curriculum, and we see that English is considered as second language in the classroom. English as a second language. English is not a foreign language. It is not EFL. It is ESL. EFL means English as a first language. We don't, English as a foreign language, sorry, English as a foreign language. English is not a foreign language now. English is a second language in this country because a lot of people are studying English here. The number of speakers in English are more than the number of speakers speaking in England itself. So, that considering this fact, we can come with an inference that English is one of the most important languages used in India. And thirdly, after globalization, particularly, that's what after 1990s, English continued to be the language of business communication, technical communication, language of IT, BT, ITES, that is i- information technology enabled services, ITES, like retailing or BPO, KPO, LPO, business process outsourcing, legal process outsourcing, knowledge process outsourcing. Today we see a lot of such things, Byju's, an academy, and variety of companies imparting education online. So that has become one of the languages which help you to gain greater employment, better opportunities. And that's why a teacher in the English classroom should understand what our students are going to study, why they are going to study, what do they carry, whether they are studying English for a competitive examination, whether they are studying English for getting a job, whether they are studying English to become English teachers. These are the things we should know. Based on that, we develop a pedagogy, whether and at the same time, methods of teaching English is also decided by the factors around us. When we talk about direct method, whether the conditions are good for direct method, using English continuously, using English only in the classroom, and not other languages, so that the children are given more importance um, to one language only. That is called direct method. Direct method is emphasized by some people. I'm not going to talk in detail about all the methods of teaching here. My focus is approaches to teaching literature here. uh, those methods you can of course study on your own. I just give you some idea about direct method or a grammar translation method, which is also called German method. So how a teacher decides in the classroom what method should be used. Again, teaching is dynamic. You have to customize your teaching based on the batch of students, based on their language ability. We conduct a language ability test, LAT, and based on their knowledge and you know uh, capacity to understand, we develop method. Some are uh, supporting direct method, some are supporting grammar translation method. In India, in Karnataka, we have had this Bhashantara Patamala. Earlier, when we were studying in high schools, there used to be four Bhashantara Patamala, which was a part of a grammar translation method actually. Grammar of Kannada, grammar of English was a comparative analysis. ನಾನು ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ, I am going. Yes, we go in English. Yes, we in Kannada. It's directly translating from one language to another language. Bilingual method was also used normally in government colleges. That has been the culture that we English teachers are using both languages. Sometimes we speak better in Kannada. Obviously, using both the languages. When it comes to knowledge, we should use any language that convinces them. When it comes to language skills, we should try our best to use English in our classroom. And the communicative method is another method used in language teaching today. Communicative method means it is a method which focuses on the language in use. The language in use means most of the time we used to teach Ren and Martin, we used to teach traditional grammar. But children were given all the examples of Tom, Dick, Harry, Jack and Jill went up a hill. Uh, so children were not able to visualize the sentences and the images. But communicative method focuses on using each and every situation as a part of language learning. Even when a teacher enters the classroom, if the teacher says, "Good morning, everybody," it is a part of language activity. Even if a teacher starts taking attendance in the classroom, if a teacher announces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it is a language activity because the student should understand how to even count numbers, how to say numbers, how to pronounce properly. Teacher uses a lot of communicative. Why are you absent? Why are you late? What's your name? Where are you going? What's the matter? This should be the part of language learning activity. At the same time, when we are teaching grammar to the classes in the classroom, a teacher should use such situations which are of present use. That's what Ferdinand de Saussure talks about. La langue and la parole. Knowledge of language is one thing. At the same time, the use of language is equally important. The language in context. The language in context is important. That's why we are supposed to balance ourselves, ensure that the language used in the classroom, the examples given in the classroom belong to everyday life, belong to contemporary situations. Attach these situations with the situations of learner. If you are talking about common noun, give them examples of common noun available in the classroom, common noun available around his atmosphere in village or town. Give them that kind of examples only. And so the vocabulary is developed based on the necessity of the candidate, not on the knowledge of a teacher. So this is actually needed, and we have seen this kind of approach in high school teaching. Chaitanya 3, Chaitanya 3, Chaitanya 2 was there. So they focus on each and every word spoken by the teacher, and at the same time, there are other approaches like uh, encouraging children to use cultural context, encouraging children to use cultural context like TV shows, anchoring. Say, for example, if Amitabh Bachchan is running a show like Kaun Banega Crorepati, if Shah Rukh Khan is running a show, if some good reality shows are there, or including even railway announcements and radio jockeys, uh, all kinds of language activities or modes should be considered as cultural context. So uh, they must be allowed to observe these activities and come to know how language is used in different places. That is in general about methods of teaching, and I will move on with specific aspects of teaching of literature in the classroom. And I would be dealing this topic in four different sections: uh, poetry, drama, novel, and essay. So this is again very brief. It's a very big topic here, and I would be dealing with these aspects in general. Uh, when you teach poetry in the classroom, a teacher should know what is poetry. A teacher should know different genres of poetry. A teacher should know how to recite poetry. A teacher should know the sound in the poetry, the meaning related to sound. Okay. So there are certain techniques of teaching poetry, and let us just scroll through these. So one should know the elements of poetry, because poetry is a game, because there are artificial rules, and it takes two to a reader and a reader to play it. Actually, we require both writer and reader to play. Someone writes, someone reads. Okay. um, it is not just writing poetry, it is understanding poetry that is equally important. If the reader is reluctant, the game will not play. It is like a cricket game. You should have both the teams, someone bowling and someone batting. If the bowler is reluctant to bowl, the play will not happen. If the batsman is reluctant to bat, the play will not happen. So, similarly, a poet, when he writes or she writes, there is a reader who understand. We require Saharadaya, a person who understand your poetry. A poetry can also be used to develop the student's ability to control and respond language. Poetry can be used as a language tool, but comparatively, poetry uses less language and more thoughts. The complexity of thoughts is more seen in poetry than in essay and other writings. So, as far as poetry is concerned, poetry is musical. We say that poetry is a musical composition. It's a special combination of musical and linguistic qualities, both as pure sound as a meaningful speech. We know golden girls and chimney sweepers all must come to dust. We also talk about out, out, brave candle. We also talk about wonderful poems of Wordsworth. Okay. Uh, there are Tiger, Tiger Burning Bright of Blake. We come to know that poetry is a musical composition. There is rhythm in poetry, and we discussed something about the meter in the last class. Poetry applies words to our situations, musical, playful, and expressive, not for all for time, not all for time. Reading a poem for the first time ought to be a little like meeting a person for the first time, because we are talking about the tact in poetry, and one has to acquaint himself or herself with the tact. We must understand who is the speaker in the poem. We must understand what is his situation, so whom he is or she is addressing. So these are the things one has to understand while reading poetry. What is it about? Who is the speaker? What is his or situation? When Wordsworth was writing Daffodils, it is all about his joy he expresses. When Coleridge is writing Kubla Khan, it is all about his dream, 5 miles meandering. He writes about a wonderful pleasure dome with the caves of ice. Okay. When Wordsworth is writing about the world is too much with us, of late we lay waste our powers in getting and spending. His situation is something different. He was critical of his age. When Tagore is writing his Gitanjali, where the mind is without fear, the head is held high. It's a prarthana that during the time of pre-independence period, how Tagore is encouraging the people. Okay, so one should understand who is the speaker, what his situation is, whom he seems to be addressing. Whom is he addressing? Whether he is addressing, children, whether he is addressing us, whether he is addressing something. So, in Browning's "My Last Duchess," we come to know that whom the Duke is addressing, and we should know poetry is closest to painting and sculpture. We know that poetry gives you pictures. Poetry is pictorial. Okay. Uh, Scenes are created, pictures are created in poetry. For example, the woods decay and fall. You know, even when you remember, it's a Tennyson's words. If you remember Robert Frost, woods are lovely, dark and deep. I have promises to keep. Miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep. There are pictures created. There are wonderful pictures. If you look at Spencer, Sperry, Quinn, wonderful pictures are created when you read Keats's poem Ode on Gracie and Anne. The pictures are created. So poetry creates pictures. That's why it is near to painting and sculpture. So the best language is used here. A teacher should understand the language used, to perceive relations, make discrimination, metaphoric comparison, ironic contrast. And a teacher should have knowledge of images too. Images used in poetry, metaphorical language. Okay, see, similes are used, metaphors are used. Oh, my love is like red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. So we must understand the artfulness in the use of language by the poet. And I'm not going to talk much about metaphor. Metaphor is implied simile, and simile you know already. We must know what is conceit, and conceit is the use of simile, which is far-fetched, two far-fetched uh, images are yoked by violence together. The tears are compared to walking bath, fleas compared to the bridal chamber. This is what we have seen in metaphysical poets. Symbolism, teacher should understand symbolism used. W.B. Yeats is called one of the most symbolic poets, and symbolism is important. Language of animation and personification is also important because Tennyson's Brook, and they say, "For men may come and men may go, I go on forever." Brook is speaking, Death is speaking. So the poet uses personification in his "I on my horse and love on me cloth, try our horsemanships, while by strange work I prove." Love as a horseman is used here. So we must understand whether personification is used, simile is used, metaphor is used. And we should also know the irony. For discussing irony, the best example is "To His Quay Mistress" by Henry Marvell. That's what he says. "Had we but word enough and time, but at my back I always hear Time's winged chariot hurrying near." This is ironic. 200 years should go to praise thine eyes, and on my forehead gaze 200 to adore each breast, and 30,000. So, this kind of irony, it's a wonderful use of irony is used here. It's the best example. So we should know what is in irony and how to identify irony in poetry. So music metrics is already discussed here. Metrics is a very important thing. We should know different genres of poetry. What is sonnet? What is ode? What is ballad? What is an elegy? What is a dramatic monologue? And apart from that, we should also understand what is meter, what is foot, what is yam, anapes, trochee, dactyl, spondy, what is caesura, small pause, long pause, enjambment, run-on lines. What is refrain? Refrain means repetition of a poetic line. That's what "for men may come and men may go, I go on forever." In Yeats's Easter 1916, a terrible beauty is born. A terrible beauty is born. So, similarly, we find such refrains in every poem, and we should know the meter. If it is 1 foot monometer, 2 feet dimeter, 3 feet trimeter, 4 feet tetrameter, 5 feet pentameter, 6 feet hexameter. So, for approaching a poem, there is no single method here. Try to grasp the expression, dimension of the poem, clear sense of nature and situation of the speaker, the narrative, dramatic dimension of the poem, and the descriptive, meditative dimension of the poem. So, play of language, musical dimension. Read the poetry aloud, emphasis. So, reading poetry, that's what we call recitation of poetry, is a very important thing in teaching poetry. Half of the meaning is conveyed in reading poetry itself. That's why we as teachers should know how to read aloud the poetry. Going to the other aspect, drama, techniques of teaching, drama. Uh, Again, when it comes to teaching of drama, drama is for enacting, we know. Drama begins in the make believe, a play acting of children in the ritual of primitive religion. It's a make believe, play acting. The essence of drama is The essence of drama is imitative action. So obviously, what happens here is the teaching of drama. We need to be dramatic. It is at once literary art. There is fiction. There is, you know, plot. There are characters. There are dialogues. So this fiction is acted out rather than narrated. Whereas novel is called pocket theater. Theater is a this drama is a fiction also because there is a plot, there is a character, and all this is used. Fiction, a play can be read as a part of literature. A play is to be witnessed representing a play is to be witnessed if the play is enacted on the stage. It's a representation of art. Most plays are written to be performed except few. Except closet drama, all plays are written to be performed. They should be enacted on the stage. They are better interpreted on the stage than in reading. So while teaching drama, a teacher should know certain aspects of drama. Drama, that's what aspects of drama we should know. The setting of the play, the theatrical explanations in the play, creation of situation, and we should know different genres of the drama like comedy, tragedy, tragicomedy, history play. So drama is to be enacted, and we can also teach drama as a part of teaching spoken English, because whenever we are talking about speaking skills, we prescribe a play, we prescribe, you know, either a comedy or one act play. The intention of prescribing this play is to teach the students speaking skills. A teacher should know drama and theatrical performance. You may not be the actor, but you need to be, at least, you should know, should have knowledge of theater. And because teaching itself is a performance, every class is a stage, and every chapter is a performance for us. So teachers should know the magic of theater, the ghost in Hamlet, witches in Macbeth, death in every man. Spectacles happen in drama, and all one should have a knowledge of theater while teaching drama. We should create imaginative theater of our minds. Read the text as scripts for performance, creating imaginary spectacles, setting, costuming, props. When you are teaching Macbeth, you should see that the witches are there. Fair is foul, foul is fair. When you are teaching Ghost in Hamlet, you should say how the ghosts enter A teacher should create such an imaginary situation, sometimes make children to play such roles. And a teacher need to enter into the world of play and for a better presentation of drama. We not only understand but also experience its meaning here. Extensive stage directions, particularly Shaw, Ibsen, Williams. No stage directions in case of Shakespeare, Sophocles, and Molière. And we should also know how to link drama with short story, poem. This is something about drama. And Aristotle's poetics, knowledge of poetics is necessary, in which Aristotle speaks about mythos, ethos, lexis, dianoia, opsis, nosis. And we should know different types of dramas written these days and trends in drama. Realistic drama written by Chekhov, Miller, Ibsen, Shaw, naturalism in Swinburne, symbolism in Eliot, theatre of absurd by Beckett and Pinter, epic theatre by Brett. Apart from knowing all the issues related to comedy, tragedy, and besides knowing something about the aspects of drama. And we should also know something about one act play, how one act play was originated. So it is, in fact, a mini play with one act. It is known for its brevity. Most of the one act plays are comedies, and they come with a single theme, few characters. Normally, one act plays, the enactment of one act play is completed between 30 minutes to 1 hour only. So, wonderful one act plays are Never Never Nest, The Dear Departed. Okay. And one act play is normally used for teaching speaking skills. And one act play should be enacted in the classroom, and students can practice that. And teaching of novel, while teaching novel, we should know aspects of novel. What is fiction? A fiction is made up of a story, and the story telling started with the Bible. We know how the novel was developed in 18th century England. So what are the aspects of the novel? As em Poster writes, plot is very, very important. Characterization, major characters, minor characters, rounded characters, flat characters. Setting of the novel, where the novel is set. That's what we call about time and space. Time and space. If it is The Sword of Tipu Sultan by B.S. Gidwani, the novel is set in 18th century Karnataka. If it is The Return of the Aryans by Bhagwan Das Gidwani, it is set in pre ancient India or prehistoric time. If it is, you know, Chaman Nahal's Azadi, it is set during the time of partition. So, setting of the novel, Yama, you are reading, or you are reading the Tale of Two Cities of Charles Dickens, which is set in French Revolution. So, setting of the novel is important, And narrative technique is important. Whether there is a first person narrator or third person narrator, whether there is stream of consciousness technique is used or different kind of technique is used. So these things should be known to a teacher. Coming to the short story, as a one act play is to drama, short story is to novel. So short story is a very popular one, and it deals with a single theme. The reading of short story is completed in one sitting. Edgar Allan Poe is said to be the pioneer of short story. So short story teaching is rather very interesting. So the length of short story is between 3,000 to 6,000 words. So anyway, these are some of the things that one should know how to teach short story. Teaching an essay is also equally important. Prose is a very important medium. As T.S. Eliot made it clear in his famous essay, What is Classic? The highest exploitation of the language or the best use of the language takes place in prose. So, writing essay or teaching essay is equally important. So essays are different types of essays are there: periodical essays, aphoristic essays, personal essays. So one should know the different types of essays, and one should also teach how to write essays. So with this, I'm going to conclude my discussion on methods of teaching English and literature. It is by and large a very general discussion on various aspects of teaching. That's what we call ELT, English language teaching. With this, I'm going to conclude my discussion, and thank you very much for patient listening. If there are any one or two questions, can be asked. Thank you.
So thank you so much. It was a very wonderful lecture. Dear listeners, if you have any questions, queries to ask to Sir, you can ask your questions. Sir, I request you to kindly forward all the PPTs that you have
Okay.
prepared for all the lectures. You please share
Oh,
them with me.
okay.
All the
Okay.
participants are asking for PPTs and notes,
No
so
problem,
that
sir.
I can forward to them.
Okay, sir. I will share. You
Okay.
can't you download from StreamYard now? It is not done.
No, no, I can't download it.
Okay,
So
okay.
you can
I will
just
send
share
you
it
now.
on. Yeah, yeah, yes.
I will send.
I think there are no doubts today, and number of viewers was also less today. I think it
Ah,
is
it's,
because of Sunday and all.
yes. No
Yes.
problem, sir. No? Thank you.
However, there is one comment here. Really excellent teaching. I just opened this particular video, but I have listened previous many. Okay, that's not a problem. You can, Harsha, but you can
Uh,
listen to this video leisurely when you get your time.
thank you, Harsha.
And I have asked Sir to share all the PPTs, so he will share them with me, and I can forward them on Telegram group. In 250 words, how to distribute, Sir, for three parts. Uh,
What is
what is
this
this?
actually?
Uh, uh, can you just Usha
Be
S. Rajole?
specific. Can
Can
you
you
be
just
specific about
yeah,
what?
yeah. The question is not clear. Distribute what? So there is one more comment. It's like ocean. How to remember?
Arsha, don't worry. What happens actually when we continue to read, continue to be in this process of reading, writing, knowing something? Yeah, everything, of course, seems to be ocean, but there is limit for everything. We have a limit for human knowledge, understanding also. and humans set the question paper. Humans write the question paper, write the answers, and our the only thing is those who work more will get better success. So it looks like ocean, of course. Literature is an ocean, but when we dig deep into the things, you start enjoying it. And so literature is all about enjoying. It is not just for success, all about enjoying reading something, teaching something. So work little hard, certainly you will understand. The ocean will come down to you.
Yeah, and I think for this, repetition is the key.
Yeah.
Hmm. We need to keep revising the things that we have studied already. Mm, that's the only way I feel, because it's all again, when it comes to these kind of examinations, it's a burden on memory, I feel.
Yes, yes, yes.
So anyhow, we have to somehow we have to keep our memory intact, and for that, repetition is very important.
If you
Mm,
read with the pleasure, the
yeah,
memory will be stronger actually. If
yeah,
we
yeah. That's
consider this only as a database, one should not
mm,
consider anything as database. That is a big issue. People
yeah,
consider it as a data to store. When it is a
yeah.
data, we feel tired of storing a data. When it is knowledge and experience, we feel like storing
Mm,
everything.
yeah.
That is the
I think
difference
you.
between reading information and reading experience.
Yeah, that's a very nice suggestion, sir. We should experience it. We
Yeah,
should read with pleasure.
read with the pleasure.
Yeah.
We should
So
not
there are.
struggle to remember.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Muni Raja has got a doubt here. Please suggest some books related to this topic, today's topic, sir.
Actually,
Yeah.
there are books in the market, and I referred Yaflu notes. Actually, I did a course from English and Foreign Language University, PGCTE. But there are good number of books apart from this also. Uh, because I studied only Yaflu notes, I can't prescribe now properly, but I will post it to you. Okay, but I
Yes,
have
sir.
referred this kind of notes, Yaflu
Uh,
notes
hmm.
by English and Foreign Language University. There are certain books like this, practice teaching. If they are available in public domain, you can download them. Even IGNO has brought out some wonderful notes. It's app, IGNO app. They can download from there. Apart from that, I may also suggest you one book, but now there are some Bhatia and all this there. I don't have clarity on that, but I will prescribe later.
Okay, sir. And I think for English language teaching, there is one book by Muhammad Aslam, I think.
That's a good
That
one.
is that is also a good one
Good.
as far as ELT is concerned.
Yes, sir.
English language teaching and English as second language in India. All those topics are covered in that book.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm, there is one interesting question here, sir. Sir,
Uh,
I am in a degree year. Manjunath, in which degree are you studying? BA or MA? What to crack net and what want to become assistant professor? What do I do right now? I think, sir, to Manjunath, I can tell one thing. Manjunath, if you are in BA degree right now, your focus should be only on completing BA with good marks and focus on your BA studies, because that is your core syllabus, which will again appear in net and set examination. So right now, don't worry too much about net exam. First complete your BA, then your MA, and then
Extensive
of
reading
course,
is necessary for degree students. What is happening, they children are reading only notes. Extensive reading, because when we were studying BA, we used to read all the volumes of David Duchess, all the volumes of Boris Ford, Pelican Guide to English Literature. So, what is necessary today for students? It's a good question he has asked. If at all he or she is really interested in becoming a teacher, from the beginning itself. NEP has given this kind of an opportunity now. They should develop reading extensively from the beginning itself. So obviously, like you, Akshay, they may clear net or set very early. Hmm?
So to this question, I have one more suggestion to Manjunath. I see many of the students who do BA with optional English. Most of the times, students don't read the original texts that are prescribed in their syllabus. So the first task you have to do as a BA degree student or MA degree student, read the original texts which are prescribed in your syllabus, because that's very important. What we usually do is, most of the students, they depend on the secondary sources and tertiary sources. Yes, they are important, but at the same time, do read those original texts. That is that's very crucial at BA level at least. uh, we have another question, sir. Like, oh, okay, there is a clarification from Usha. Sir, like introduction, body of essay, and conclusion part, how to distribute this in 250 words?
It is actually, as far as introduction and conclusion is concerned, it all depends upon the writer itself. There is no prescribed words, but naturally, when it is 250 words, there need to be 30 to 40 now words for introduction. Some 30 words for conclusion is necessary, and the body of the essay can be, of course, because whenever we're talking about essay, we talk about the proper beginning, proper middle, and proper ending. And you should distribute the body of essay particularly in 2 3 paragraphs. Okay, if the first paragraph is an introduction and the last is the conclusion, at least 3 paragraphs should be the body of the essay. I think you got, Usha.
Yes, sir. So that's all for today, sir. I think there are no many questions. Can you give few more classes?
Uh,
Uh,
that we
Let
shall
us
discuss
see.
later.
Huh. For right now, we had a series of only a few lectures, because um, Muni Raja, as an answer to your question, can you please give few more classes? We always have some limitations when we go online, and this is a training, especially when it comes to English literature and the competitive exams in English literature. It is more of self study. What we have been understanding through these classes is some strategies that we have to adopt in our studying methods. So rest of the things, actually, they need to be done by you. So it is more of your efforts. And yes, if our university decides, if the organizers decide to have few more classes, we can definitely go for it. So, but
Okay.
your study is more important. That's what I feel. Sir, you are saying something.
No, nothing. We will discuss about extra classes possible, and they can
Yeah.
also watch my YouTube channel. There are
Yeah.
some useful videos if they want. Apart from that,
Yes.
if there are any specific classes, we shall discuss, Akshay. And
Yeah.
one or two, I am ready. We will do
No
it.
problem, sir. No
Oh,
problem, sir. I will ask the main coordinator, Dr. Prakash
yes,
Badigir, sir, and
yes,
whatever he says, if he says okay, we can have one few more classes. And I request you, sir, to give the link to your channel so that I can forward it to the listeners.
okay, 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 sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you so
Thank,
much, sir.
thank you, thank
So it was a nice, elaborate session on English language teaching and the basics of language.
you. All Majge
And,
Ramayana.
ah,
Majke Ramayana, we were able to talk so many things in short time.
oh, yeah, yeah. But it was, yes, it was definitely useful for all the aspirants, sir.
Yes.
So at the outset, I thank you once again for giving your valuable time, efforts, and giving valuable inputs to all the aspirants, and making this series a grand success, sir. You have been with us for a long time. You have been giving us great suggestions through these lectures, and with your cooperation, this lecture series has been successful, and definitely all the students will remember you,
Thank you.
and I know they will definitely seek your guidance. They can ask for your contact number, which we can provide them. So yes, sir, you were definitely really helpful for all the aspirants, and on behalf of our university, on behalf of the coordinator, Dr. Prakash Badigir, sir, I thank you wholeheartedly for having given your valuable time for this lecture series, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I also thank you, Akshay, and all the people involved in it, including Honorable Vice Chancellor, for this opportunity. I wish all the aspirants all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dear listeners, that's all for today. If there is any class, I will let you know on the Telegram group. Please be updated there. Thank you.